Hi everybody. You are gathered here today to witness the artwork of Tan Wah Piow, our resident exile from Singapore. How many of you know Wah Piow? Do all of you know Wah Piow?
Yeah.
How many of you are Singaporeans? How many of you are Malaysians or have a Malaysian connection? Now, have you heard of Operation Spectrum? No? Yeah, but some of you, especially the younger ones, have not heard about Operation Spectrum. We celebrated the 30th, am I right, Wah Piow? 30th anniversary of Operation Spectrum, which Lee Kuan Yew had a crackdown on dissidents in 1987, in May 1987. And in May this year, we celebrated the 30-year anniversary. Now, 9 years before that, Wah Piow, as you know, was hounded out of the country because they accused him of being a Marxist conspirator. Yeah. So he had to flee Singapore, and he came, of course, to England. Now, what you are witnessing here today is his expression of what happened to him and what is happening to Singapore today. For those of you who are Malaysians who don't know or who have not heard about Spectrum, you have your own crackdown, which is Operation Lalang. Have you heard of Lalang?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 5 months after Spectrum, when Mahathir was the Prime Minister then. He jailed all those activists, even people who were in education, drama people, literature people, even they were sent to Kamunting for a few years. Now today, Wah Piow, who, as you know, is a lawyer by profession, but he has decided to express his feelings about the country and about what happened to him in his various artwork. For instance, behind you in the corner, do you see the chair there? Now, do you know the significance of that chair?
President's chair.
Yes. Do you know anything more about that? Wah Piow, perhaps you would like to say something about the chair?
Well, not so much about the chair per se, but because as an artist you're not supposed to speak. Works explain for itself. And all I can say is that I'm very pleased to have friends and new friends here today, because today happens to be the first day of my 42nd year in the UK. Yeah. I came to this country on the 30th of July 1976. So this is the 42nd year. And 42nd is always a good time to celebrate anything, because it sounds, there's a rhythm, 42nd Street. One doesn't have to be too serious in life when you reach to my youth. And my profession is as a lawyer, I speak and I write. But then as an artist, then you stop speaking and you stop writing. And that's why I sum up the Singapore Constitution. In fact, I'm very productive. Within a month, I wrote 6 volumes. B2, you can't beat that. I wrote 6 volumes of thick books. And there is nothing much to write, except that, say, in the terms of Singapore Constitution, I stretched it to 11.5 grams. It speaks more, or for example, the books on rights, all I need is a kind of a simulated bullet holes through it that speaks volumes about what rights are. The point that I'm trying to test out in this exhibition is to see how much people are aware of the distinction between rule by law and rule of law. Alex from Russia, or my friend Angie, who just came from a demonstration against China, will understand that even in the most dictatorial regime, you have nowadays rule by law. And that rule by law is summed up in this piece of work, the red tapes, which I've done here, which is a very clever way of a government to say that all laws are applied equally to all citizens. Whereas quite often you find that red tapes are used specifically designed for the opposition, for the media, for social activists. And need I say more when even the brother of the present-day Prime Minister of Singapore has said that he has no confidence with the regime, and that there is abuse of power and so on. Now, I have not noticed anyone sitting on the two chairs which I've placed here and say, if you want to watch my one-dimensional movie, is to close your eyes and imagine. And this is what I find lacking in people, generally, whatever. And most people are familiar with the goddess of justice, whatever. It's always in a pride of place in every country, but nobody ever paused. Everyone knows the goddess of justice. No one ever paused to think, what is this allegory of justice? How is it applied? Even judges in Singapore, the constitution is hardly ever mentioned. It's always the discretion of the judiciary. Now, I have spoken too much as a lawyer because, as an artist. Now, I have parked my legal brain aside when I start doing all these works, which is quite interesting because as a lawyer, you tend to work on individual cases, on the problem that the individual face. And when I park that aside and start thinking as an artist, then I have this big roll of red tapes, which was from my firm, one big roll. And I was looking at it, that eventually I turned it into the news. I can say probably this is the first set of news anywhere in the world that is made of red tapes. Now, what I have done for some lawyers is extremely sacrilegious and an attack on the law. Now, I have here a very good friend, an old friend, also from the same Balliol College, and he's a man of words. We happen also to be colleagues at the bar. Now, he might not think kindly of my attack on the law. He might agree with me. So let's hear from Bitu Bala.
Tan, an extremely articulate speech for an artist. One of the things I must say that has really impressed me is, in fact, the noose of red tape. It is something I've always wanted to do myself, but never had the courage to do. And the great thing about this exhibition is it is an exhibition not only of the realities of life under a quasi-dictator, but is also the courage to say we take no more, and to say that there are things of life which are much more important than the power of a chair, than the mismanagement of the election. But it's all about people, and people trying to express themselves. And this, as a manifestation of expression, is magnificent. And I toast Wah Piow's artistry, and I only wish he had shown more of it as a lawyer.
Anybody got anything to say?
You did explain about the chair.
Yes, the chair. We want to know about the chair.
Which chair?
Your so many numbers of 5.
Ah,
the
right,
chair sit
okay.
on the top of the 5, and there is number 6 sit
Yes.
inside the chair.
Okay, right now, that is actually, that whole wall is dedicated to the coming presidential election in Singapore, which is supposed to take place in September this year. As we speak, or as I speak, because I'm speaking outside the jurisdiction of Singapore, therefore I'm free to speak, and that's why I speak when I am here. Now, and also there is someone is taking the Singapore government to court by a prospective presidential candidate at one time. He had taken legal advice from David Panic, who is one of the top constitutional law QC, where he takes the view that the government is wrong to regard in the management of the next presidential election. The present president has a support of 33% of the population. It was it is an elected presidency. The presidency was designed quite a few years ago to make it an elected presidency, so that special powers is held by the president for the management, among other things, of the reserve funds. And that was Lee Kuan Yew's idea, that should there be a freak election and the opposition comes into power, then the president will hold the fort by stopping or having control over the use of the reserve funds. The president would also have the power on the appointments or the sacking of the commissioner of police. This may appear to be a very technical issue, but imagine a time when there is a new government that wants to open up the cupboards to flush out the skeletons, and you need the commissioner of police. And if he refused to do, then theoretically Parliament should be able to sack him. If you put that control over his appointment and sacking, you are therefore controlling that stage of the process. There are other things. So it was a position designed to protect the ruling party. Over time, there are some people who has the qualification adequate enough to stand as a presidential candidate. Who is eligible to stand for presidential candidate? With the exception of maybe B2 and Alex, that I do not know your assets. I suspect none of you are eligible who are Singaporeans, because you must manage a company that is worth 500 million. 500 million. Even in this country, how many will be eligible? Then those who are eligible will be part of that establishment. Now, then it so happened that some people becomes eligible. Then they change it to, you have to be executive director. And for this coming election, because there are people who are eligible, they change it to, it has to be a Malay candidate. Has to be a Malay, so a special ethnicity. And the Malay candidate, according to the revised constitution, will kick in at the for the sixth elected presidency. Then become now very complicated. The present president is the fourth elected president, which means this September election would be a normal elected election. No, said the government. The president is actually the fifth. Why? Because the last non-elected president was carrying out duties as though he's the elected president. Therefore, whatever this is, the fifth, the next one is the sixth. That's why I have my dices designed in such a way, any which way they will win. And that is the thing about the dices, 5 and 6. Now, and the chair, white is the color of the ruling party. And if you recall, actually most fascist government trade on the ideology that we are pure. We are pure, we are good. Gays or whatever, they are all no good. Not even, of course, communists, lefties, and so on are naturally no good. So they claim to be white and whiter than white. So that's the color. And I have therefore turned the presidency chair into white because everyone cares only of form, that it is a sacred position when it is actually under the dominance of the dominant party, and that's the Singapore ideology that explains the chairs and so on. Yeah.
What's the significance of the red dice?
The red dice is the coming election. September becomes the sixth elected presidency. So it's yes, and I think through art, you can ridicule them. I mean, it would take me ages to write a big volume that nobody reads to explain that. Come on, don't take this too seriously. And Singaporeans have this notion that the law is the law and is beyond criticism and so on. And I say, whatever. Yep.
So do you find that people accept you or what you are trying to convey through your writings or your art much better?
I think if an artist is worried of being accepted by people, then he probably would lose his art. He may be good commercially. Same as a lawyer, I think.
And the significance of the spectacles, is that everything whitewashed?
The spectacles, these what I call the candidates. And I represent the candidates in those three masks because it doesn't matter what is in your brain, and so long as you are prepared to see the way the ruling party sees, which is the tinted white glasses, and you're prepared to don on the straight jackets, and that is also my way of saying that, come on, don't take the presidency too seriously. It's just a charade, and to belittle the entire process.
Why are you selling bottled water?
Ah, right. That is branding. You see the four. Singapore has a very successful brand, and that is the brand of Lee Kuan Yew.
You can only explain that by coming there.
Right, okay. Richard, Robert, now, Singapore has a very successful brand, and so successful is the brand of Lee Kuan Yew that he defines Singapore. And even amongst people who are critical of what's going on, they do have great respect for him. Now, whatever my views, that is the reality of a brand. This logo was developed by one PAP and became very popular during the period of Lee Kuan Yew's death, and that is the brand, and that's being branded. Now,
When was that?
2 years ago, 2015. Hi. When Lee Hsien Loong took over, even the last few days I was talking to friends to say, what does he represent? What is his views? I do not know. All I know is that he always wear a pink shirt. And on the internet they call him Pinky. Whatever, so that is the brand. That is still the brand, and it's still perfect, not like the old brand. Then, and the debranded is something very recent, something that happens probably only in the last few weeks, that it went from debranded to disbanded. It started to have after the death of Lee Kuan Yew. In fact, almost within the hour when I heard about his death, I sent out my article on the death of Lee Kuan Yew will make the people free. So it was published in many of the websites, in the Malaysian papers. Where is Richard? Richard Ho? Oh, this is somewhere. Even his mother reads from the Chinese press and was very upset. He said, how could Tan Wah Piow start scolding Lee Kuan Yew immediately before the cops? But anyway, I did it, and some people were criticizing that, oh, that could not necessarily be the case and so on. But in the last few years, more dirt being thrown out and so on. And that is the process of being debranded. But the most serious was the disbanding that you can see here. The little image here is a monkey. Okay, it's a Japanese monkey.
Can you hold it up again?
Right? It's a Japanese monkey. Now, this was released sometime last year during a spat between the wife of the Prime Minister and his sister, the Lee Wei-ling. She said it was a fat finger syndrome and so on, but that, I feel, marks the beginning of the disbanding. And why is the disbanding? Is that in history, as noted by one of Singapore's revisionist historian, P.J. Tham, historically, any regime that is based on one dictator, it will not last for long, it will last forever. It may not even last 2 generations. And what we are looking at today is this process. In fact, in 2 days' time, Lee Hsien Loong is going to Parliament to explain the family squabble, because that family squabble is now, in fact, the most popular thing, not just on Singapore social media, even in China. And places like in China or in India, Lee Kuan Yew has been upgraded to the state of a deity. And even in Sri Lanka and in Bangladesh. So that is how serious that disbanding is. But this morning I've just posted something on my Facebook in response to Lee Hsien Yang, who says that the 3rd of July, which is next 2 days, Lee Kuan Yew's speech in Parliament would be a whitewash. Now, if this is said by any politician, everyone will say, you will say so, won't you? But if this is said by someone who is within the establishment, then it's quite interesting. And whitewash, in fact, is the material I use. If you look carefully at those trousers, they are pinstripes trousers, which are soaked in whitewash. This was done a few months ago before Lee Hsien Yang's speech. So that is the kind of whitewash that's going on in Singapore. Now, opposition might have been using that term, but it gives significance when it is said by the second son of the former dictator. So I think that is all I need to say, and I've spoken too much. Thank you very much for coming. Yes?
The unraveling of Lee Kuan Yew's legacy.
Right.
How has it affected the old and the young? Because the young don't really know much about Singapore history, do they? They only know what Pat gives them, PAP gives them.
As they say about the Paris Commune, time will tell. It's too early, I think, too early to predict. But I think it's unraveling a lot of things.
But the old, like the man's mother was upset with you.
Yeah,
Friend's mother.
But you see, now because Lee Kuan Yew is treated as a deity, as a perfect and so on, and he works he trades on Asian values, and nothing more sacred in Asian value is family and family harmony. And when this happened, people will start asking, how could this happen in the Lee family? So that myth of the infallibility, the perfect dictator and so on will start to crack. And I think that will open up people's mind.
You
more
hope it
willing.
will.
Yes, I'm quite sure.
And your artwork will help them express things differently.
Well, that is my idea of this whole set of artwork is that nothing is sacred and we should explore every little bit. Even probably as a lawyer to attack the allegory of justice, I could be criticized by some lawyers, but that's the way things are, or to represent the Constitution in the way I did. Some may say, oh no, you are being cheeky. Or, yes.
Are you going to be doing more artwork then in the future?
Yes, because now I can't stop thinking about every object.
When you retire perhaps? You're going to branch
No,
out
it's
into-
a reinvention because according to the latest book, The History of Tomorrow, by this Israeli historian, we can technically live on and on and on. So that makes me worry. I don't want to be a lawyer on and on and on.
Anyway, please feel free to wander around, to ask questions, go to the artist himself and say, why is it like this?
Yeah, and anyone who wants to say anything into the camera, do so, please.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.